Mother's Contribution to Society, written by D.W. Winnicott. Read for you by Burt. I suppose that everyone has a paramount interest, a deep, driving propulsion towards something. If one's life lasts long enough so that looking back becomes allowable, one discerns an urgent tendency that has integrated all the various and varied activities of one's private life and one's professional career. As for me, I can already see what a big part has been played in my work by the urge to find and to appreciate the ordinary good mother. Fathers, I know, are just as important, and indeed, an interest in mothering includes an interest in fathers, and in the vital part they play in childcare. But for me, it has been to mothers that I have so deeply needed to speak. It seems to me that there is something missing in human society. Children grow up and become in their turn fathers and mothers, but on the whole, they do not grow up to know and acknowledge just what their mothers did for them at the start. The reason is that the part the mother plays has only recently begun to be perceived. But here I must make something clear. There are certain things I do not mean. I do not mean that children should thank their parents for conceiving them. Surely they may hope that the original coming together was a matter of mutual pleasure and satisfaction. Parents certainly cannot expect thanks for the fact of a child's existence. Babies do not ask to be born. There are other things I do not mean. For instance, I do not mean that children are under any obligation to their fathers and mothers at all on account of their cooperation in home building and family affairs, even though gratitude may eventually develop. Ordinary good parents do build a home and stick together, thus providing the basic ration of child care and thus maintaining a setting in which each child can gradually find the self and the world, and a working relationship between the two. But parents do not want gratitude for this. They get their rewards, and rather than be thanked, they prefer to see their children growing up and themselves becoming parents and home builders. This can be put the other way round. Boys and girls can legitimately blame parents when, after bringing about their existence, they do not furnish them with that start in life, which is their due. In the last half-century, there has been a great increase in awareness of the value of the home. It cannot be helped if this awareness came first out of an understanding of the effect of the bad home. We know something of the reasons why this long and exacting task, the parents' job of seeing their children through, is a job worth doing. And in fact, we believe that it provides the only real basis for society and the only factory for the democratic tendency in a country's social system. But the home is the parent's, not the child's responsibility. I want to be very clear that I am not asking anyone to be expressing gratitude. What particularly concerns me neither goes back so far as conception, nor is it as far forward as home building. I am concerned with the mother's relation to her baby just before the birth, and in the first weeks and months after the birth. I am trying to draw attention to the immense contribution to the individual and to society that the ordinary good mother with her husband in support makes at the beginning, and which she does simply through being devoted to her infant. Is not this contribution of the devoted mother unrecognized precisely because it is immense? If this contribution is accepted, it follows that every man or woman who is sane, every man or woman who has the feeling of being a person in the world, and for whom the world means something, every happy person is in infinite debt to a woman. At the time when, as an infant, male or female, this person knew nothing about dependence, there was absolute dependence. Once again, let me emphasize, the result of such recognition when it comes will not be gratitude or even praise. The result will be a lessening in ourselves of a fear. If our society delays making full acknowledgement of this dependence, which is a historical fact in the initial stage of development of every individual, there must remain a block both to progress and to regression, a block that is based on fear. If there is no true recognition of the mother's part, then there must remain a vague fear of dependence. This fear will sometimes take the form of a fear of woman, or fear of a woman, and at other times will take less easily recognized forms, always including the fear of domination. Unfortunately, the fear of domination does not lead groups of people to avoid being dominated. On the contrary, it draws them towards a specific or chosen domination. Indeed, were the psychology of the dictator studied, one would expect to find that, amongst other things, he, in his own personal struggle, is trying to control the woman whose domination he unconsciously fears, trying to control her by encompassing her, acting for her, and in turn demanding total subjection and a love. Many students of social history have thought that fear of woman is a powerful cause of the seemingly illogical behavior of human beings in groups. But this fear is seldom traced to its root. Traced to its root in the history of each individual, this fear of woman turns out to be a fear of recognizing the fact of dependence. There are therefore good social reasons for instigating research into the very early stages of the infant-mother relationship. For my part, I happen to have been drawn towards finding out all I can about the meaning of the word devotion, and towards being able, if possible, to make a fully informed and fully felt acknowledgement to my own mother. Here a man is in a more difficult position than a woman. He obviously cannot come to terms with his mother by becoming a mother in turn and in due course. He has no alternative but to go as far as he can towards a consciousness of the mother's achievement. The development of motherliness as a quality in his character does not get far enough, and femininity in a man proves to be a sidetrack to the main issues. One solution for a man caught up in this problem is to take part in an objective study of the mother's part, especially the part she plays at the beginning. At present, the importance of the mother at the start is often denied, and instead it is said that in the early months it is only a technique of bodily care that is needed, and that therefore a good nurse will do just as well. We even find mothers, not, I hope in this country, being told that they must mother their infants, this being the most extreme degree of denial that mothering grows naturally out of being a mother. It often happens that just before an understanding of some matter, there is a stage of denial or blindness or deliberate not seeing, just as the sea withdraws from the sands before throwing forward the thundering wave. Administrative tidiness, the dictates of hygiene, a laudable urge towards the promotion of bodily health, these and all sorts of other things, get between the mother and her baby, and it is unlikely that mothers themselves will rise up in concerted effort to protest against interference. Someone must act for the young mothers who are having their first and second babies, and who are necessarily themselves in a dependent state. It can be assumed that no mother of a newborn baby will ever go on strike against doctors and nurses, however much frustration exists, because she is otherwise engaged. Though many of my broadcast talks are directed to mothers, the young mothers who are chiefly concerned are unlikely to read them. I have no wish to alter this. I cannot assume that young mothers will ever want to know what it is that they do when they find that they enjoy minding their own infants. They naturally fear lest instruction shall spoil their enjoyment and their creative experience, which is the essential element leading to satisfaction and growth. The young mother needs protection and information, and she needs the best that medical science can offer in the way of bodily care and prevention of avoidable accidents. She needs a doctor and a nurse whom she knows and in whom she has confidence. She also needs the devotion of a husband and satisfying sexual experiences. No, the young mother is not usually a learner from books. Nevertheless, in preparing broadcasts for publication, I have kept to the form of direct talk with young mothers for the reason that this provides discipline. A writer on human nature needs to be constantly drawn towards simple English and away from the jargon of the psychologist. Valuable as this jargon may be in contributions to scientific journals. Probably some who have already been through the mothering experience, and who therefore can afford to have a look round, will be interested to read what is said in this way, and they may be able to help to do what is so much needed at the present time. That is to say, to give moral support to the ordinary good mother, educated or uneducated, clever or limited, rich or poor, and to protect her from everyone and everything that gets between her baby and herself. We all join forces in enabling the emotional relationship between the mother and her new baby to start and to develop naturally. This collective task is an extension of the job of the father's job at the beginning, at the time when his wife is carrying, bearing, and suckling his infant, in the period before the infant can make use of him in other ways,